just say a few words about this piece before we play it. The first time I heard it was in 1976, and I heard it from up close. I was in that seat over there, and the conductor was Arthur Fiedler, and the narrator, the reciter, was Tony Randall. And I remember thinking, this piece is a riot, Tony Randall is a riot, these poems are nuts. I mean, I just couldn't figure out what they were about. Now, 38 years later, I still think the piece is a riot, and I still think the poems are nuts. But I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, they're really all about the sound of the words themselves and the rhythms of the words and this stream of consciousness flood of Victorian and Edwardian and Greek mythological imagery that just comes sailing over us in this great verbal deluge. This piece was inspired by the friendship between William Walton and this legendarily eccentric trio of siblings called the Sitwells, Edith and her brothers Osbert and Sacheverell, known as Sachi. And they were right at the center of the avant-garde community of artists and writers and theater people in London in the 1920s. And Edith started to write these experimental poems around 1919, around 1920, and they asked their friend Willie Walton if he would set some of these to music, these poems that she had written, and he did it as a kind of a send-up at first on Pierrot Lunaire, but then he got very deeply into them, and as you'll hear, they are each explorations of the sound of the words and of the unique atmosphere and emotional quality of each of these poems. They first performed them in 1923 in Aeolian Hall in London for this audience of jazz age luminaries like Noel Coward and Virginia Woolf and Evelyn Waugh. And it went on to become one of Walton's most popular pieces. And Edith herself did the narration, but she was quite shy, so she stood behind a painted screen with a hole cut in it, and she did him through a megaphone. I think got a picture there. They require people who are both classically trained musicians and also who have theatrical experience and sort of a comedic experience as well. And the perfect people, I think, are Ray and Stephanie Blythe, and it is a huge honor again to welcome them both to our stage. So.
Said Mr. Wag like a bear, with my top hat and my whiskers that trap the fair. Where the waves seem shining haycocks, I dance the polka there. Stand Venus children in the gay frocks, maroon and rain and stare. To see me fire my pistol, through the distance blue was my coach. Like Wellington, Byron, the Marquis of Bristol, Bumpkins, Gregory's float. While the wheezing hurdy-gurdy of the reeds blows me to the tune of an irony sturdy over the shapes of the sea. And bright as a seaman's packet, with Zinnia's candy-tossed chill, is Mrs. Marigold's jacket as she gapes at the indoor still, where dawn in the box of the sailor, blue as the decks of the sea. Nelson awoke, crowed like the cocks, then back to the dust sank he. And Robinson Crusoe Russo, the bright and foxy beer. But he finds fresh isles and the negress smiles, the poxy doxy dear. As they watch me dance the polka, said Mr. Wag like a bear, in my top hat and my whiskers that, tra-la-la-la trap the fair. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Through gilded trellises of the heat, Dolores, Ines, Manuccia, Isabel, Lucia, mock time that flies. companies. They flirt their fans flaunting. Oh, silence enchanting as music, then slanting their eyes. Like gilded or emerald grapes, they take Mantia's capes, hiding their simian shapes. Sighs each lady, a spading is done. Dance the quadrille from Hell's Towers to Seville. Surprise their siesta, Dolores said. Through gilded trellises of the heat spangles pelt down through the tangles of bellflowers. Each dangles her castanets. Shutters fall while the heat mutters, with sounds like a mandolin or tinkle tambourine. Ladies, time dies. Silly and shady, longing to be a lazy lady, walked by the cupolas in the Lakes Georgian stables, in a fairy tale like the heat intense and the wind and the woods and across the fence. The children gathering strawberries are changed by the heat into negresses.
Though their fair hair shines there like gold-haired planets, Calliope, Io, Pomona, Antiope, Echo, and Clio.
Then Lily O'Brady, silly and shady, sauntered along like a lazy lady beside the way takes off her gown with tucks, with a satin the color of shining reducts in her folderol. Parasol was a great gold son of the haycock shining, but she was a negress black as the shade, the time on the rightest lady laid.
Then a satyr dog-haired as trunks of trees began to flatter, began to tease. And she ran like the nymphs with golden foot that trampled the strawberry buttercup root and the thick gold dew as bright as the moth of dead Panope's golden flesh. Made from the music whence were born Memphis and Thebes in the first hot morn, and ran to wake in the lake where the water ripples seemed hay to rake.
And Charlottine, Adeline, roused from bubbling victory, and the other fish express a wish for mastic mantles and gowns with a swish, and bright and slight as the posies of buttercups and of roses, and buds of the wildwood lilies, they chase her as frisky as fillies.
The red retriever-haired satyr can whine and tease her and flatter.
But Lily O'Brady, silly and shady, in the deep shade is a lazy lady. Now Pompey's dead, Homer's red, Heliogabalus lost his head, and shade is on the brightest wing, and dust forbids the birds to sing. Jumbo asleep, grey leaves thick-furred as his ears, keep conversations blurred. Thicker than hide is the trumpeting water, Don Basquito's bride and his youngest daughter. Watch the leaves elephantine gray. What is it grieves in the torrid day? Is it the animal world that snores, harsh and inimical in sleepy pause? And why should the spined flowers, red as a soldier, make Don Bosquito seem still moldier?
Gordon, on the holy Sabbath on a peaceful day, said the huntsman playing on his old bagpipe, boring to death with the pheasant and the snipe, boring the ptarmigan and grouse for fun, boring them worse than a 9-bore gun to the flaxen leaves where the prunes are ripe, and the tartan wind a droning in the pipe, and they heard Macpherson say, where do the waves go? What hotels? Hide their bustles and their gay umbrellas, and would there be room? Would there be room? Would there be room for me? There is a hotel at Ostend, cold as the wind without an end, haunted by ghostly poor relations of Bostonian conversations, like bagpipes rotting through the walls. And there the parglobes fall like shawls, with a noise like marine waterfalls. And another little drink wouldn't do us any harm, pierces through the sabbatical calm, and that is the place for me. So do not take a bath in Jordan, Gordon, on the holy Sabbath, on the peaceful day, or you'll never go to heaven, Gordon Macpherson. And speaking purely as a private person, that is the place, that is the place, that is the place for me.
Cried the navy blue ghost of Mr. Belacre, the Allegro Negro cocktail shaker. Why did the cock crow? Why am I lost down the endless road to infinity tossed? The tropical leaves are whispering white as water. I race the wind in my flight down the promenade. Edging the far-off sand is the foam of the sirens, metropole and grand. As I race through the leaves as white as water, my ghost flowed over a nursemaid, caught her, and there I saw the lone grass weep where the guinea-fowl plumaged houses sleep, and the sweet ring doves of curded milk watch the infanta's gown of silk in the ghost room tall where the governante whispers slyly, fading andante. In at the window then looked he, the navy blue ghost of Mr. Belacre, the Allegro Negro cocktail shaker. And his flattened face like the moon saw she, rhinoceros black, yet flowing like the sea.
And Alice, oh, the pretty lassies with their mouths like a callus and their hair a golden palace, through my heart like a lovely wind they blow. Though I am black and not comely, though I am black as the darkest trees. I have swarms of gold that will fly like honeybees. By the rivers of the sun I will feed my words until they skip like those fleeced lambs, the waterfalls and the river's horned rams. And for all my darkness I shall be the peacefulness of a lovely tree, a tree wherein the golden birds are singing in the darkest branches. Oh, and lily, lazy and silly, walk by the shore of the wan grassy sea, talking once more neath a swan-bosomed tree, rose castles, tourelles, those bustles where swells each foam bell of ermine. They roam and determine what fashions have been and what fashions will be, what tartan leaves born, what crinolines worn. By Queen Thetis, pelisses of tarlatan blew like the thin plaited leaves that the castle crags grew, or velours d'Affron on the water god's land, her hair's in gold trees on the honey-celled sand, when the thickest gold spangles on deep water seen were like twanging guitar and like cold mandolin, and the nymphs of great caves with hair like gold waves of Venus wore tarlatan. Louise and Charlottine, Boreas daughters, and the nymphs of deep waters, the nymph Taiolini, Grisi, the Ondine, were plated Victoria and thin Clementine like the crinolined waterfalls. Wood nymphs wear bonnets, shawls, elegant parasols, floating are seen. The Amazons wear balzarine of jonquil beside the blonde lace of a deep falling rill. Through glades like a nun, they run from and shun the enormous and gold-rayed rustling sun, and the nymphs of the fountains descend from the mountains like elegant willows on their deep barouche pillows in cashmere, Alanda, Maréchie, Isabelle, like bells of bright water from clearest wood well, our elegance favoring bonnets of blonde, the stars in their apiaries, sylphs in their aviaries, seeing them spangle these and the sylphs fond from their aviaries fanned with each long fluid hand, the mantor, spaniels, a mimic the waterfalls over the long and the lights of the land. And lily, lazy and silly, walk by the shore of the wan grassy sea, talking once more neath a swan-bosomed tree, rose castles, tourelles, those bustles, morels of the shade in their train follow. Ladies, how vain hollow! Gone is the sweet swallow. Gone, Philomel. When Don Pasquito arrived at the seaside, where the donkey his high-tide Brady he saw the bandido Joe in a black cape, whose slack shape waved like the sea.
Detus wrote a treatise noting we silver like the sea, the love to cheat, the sweetest foam. And Otis notices that she will steal the weak king's luggage like Babel before the League of Nations grew. So Joe put the luggage and the label in the pocket of Flo the kangaroo. Through trees like rich hotels that bode of dreamless ease fled she, carrying the load and goading the road through the marine scene to the sea. Don Pesquito, the road is eloping with your luggage though heavy and large. You must follow and lose your moping. Ride to my guidance and charge.
When Don Pasquito returned from the road's end, where vanilla-colored ladies ride, from Sevilla his mantilla'd bride and young friend were forgetting their mentor and guide. For the lady and her friend from Lituki, in the very shady trees upon the sand, were plucking a white satin bouquet of foam, while the sand's brassy band played in the wind. Don Pasquito hid where the leaves drip with sweet, but a word stung him like a mosquito. For what they hear, they repeat.